Hello, I'm Makan Abazari, the Supreme of Climate. I'm Makan Abazari, the Supreme of Geophysics. I'm Makan Abazari, Shahan, Iran. And I'm Makan Abazari, the Supreme of, I'm Makan Abazari, the economic superpower. And I'm Makan Abazari, the industrial superpower. I'm going to talk about economic world order and economic system. We are going to create a new economic world order and new economic system. The previous economic world order and economic system was benefiting the East Asia, China, Japan, South Korea, New Zealand, Australia, Britain, France, Germany, USA, Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Nigeria, and South Africa. So it was benefiting East and the West, and it was benefiting the South. It also used to benefit the North, meaning Russia and Scandinavia, before this period. Trump started the trade war, meaning Trump placed tariffs and sanctions on Europe, South America, Africa, Iran, Middle East, East Asia, China, Japan, South Korea, New Zealand, and Australia. Trump placed tariffs on steel and aluminum products. Trump placed sanctions and tariffs on many semiconductor and high-tech industries. This led to weakening of the East and the West economies, meaning China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, Vietnam, Singapore, Britain, France, Germany, Italy, USA, Canada, Australia, Argentina, Brazil, Nigeria, and South Africa became weaker. The economy became weaker, and they started disintegrating because it became difficult to export from the East and West to USA, and it became difficult to trade with the East and the West. So it defeated the evil economic system of the world, because previous economic system of the world only benefited the Far East, East Asia, Pacific, Australia, New Zealand, Britain, France, Germany, Europe, and North America, and to a lesser degree South America, South Africa, and Nigeria. While the nations who are geostrategically located in the center of the planet Earth, such as Iran, Sudan, Egypt, Ethiopia, Somalia, Somaliland, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman, and Turkey did not benefit from the economic prosperity. It seems the video stopped. Let me check something. Okay, it's live. So the evil economic system only benefited the East Asia, China, Japan, USA, South Korea, Britain, France, and Germany, and it damaged and harmed the nations in the center, such as Iran, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Sudan, Somalia, Somaliland, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Syria, and Turkey, and Central Asia. So these were damaged, while the nations that are not geostrategic, such as China, Japan, South Korea, USA, Britain, France, and Germany, benefited from the economic model. So they easily transited through Red Sea, Gulf of Eden, Iran, and Middle East, and they traded with each other, and they had created a global industrial supply chain which was benefiting the East, Europe, and North America. So they traded and transited on the ships and on the roads between the Far East Asia, Europe, and USA, and they created a global industrial supply chain while they destroyed the Middle East, Iran, Arabian Peninsula, Horn of Africa, Egypt, Sudan, Somalia, Libya, and Tunisia by wars, civil wars, climate wars, and weather warfare, and by other methods. They also placed heavy sanctions on Iran and central regions of the planet Earth. So Trump's purpose was not improving the world economy and helping the nations in the center, but Trump's purpose was also to destroy the central regions. We defeated the economic system and the economic model of the East and the West that USA had created. We damaged USA economy, USA stock market over 100 times, over 200 times, each time about $5 trillion. The continuous $5 trillion damages to USA economy led to disintegration and collapse of USA and global economy. Afterward, we started in 2020 to industrialize Iran, and we started building manufacturing industries, industrial supply chains, high-tech industries, steel industries, aluminum industries, machinery, electric, manufacturing, industrial supply chains, telecommunication, manufacturing, robotics, semiconductor, electronics, computers, high-tech industries, advanced industries, techniques, polytechnics, applied polytechnics, technologies, and other industrial superconductors and other industrial disciplines and manufacturing practices. After we started industrializing Iran, we also started industrializing عراق، سوریه، افغانستان، ترکمنستان، ازبکستان، پاکستان، ترکیه، سعودی عربیه، یمن، عمان، سودان، ایجیپت، سومالیا، سومالیلند، لیبیا، تونیزیا، ایتالی، آلژیریا، آذربایجان، آرمنیا، جورجیا، بosnia, Belarus, West Russia, West China, North Korea, and South Italy and Venezuela. So we created North Korea and Venezuela to be the satellites of Iran, and we also industrialized the nations in the region, in the center, such as Iran, Middle East, Horn of Africa, Arabian Peninsula, and we also industrialized the regions adjunct to the center, such as West China, West Russia, Belarus, Balkan, North Africa, and south of Italy. So we started industrializing Iran and the greater Iran, and we created industrial systems, industrial supply chains, expanding the region, the global systems, and all of the planet Earth. So I industrialized majority of the planet Earth to help the nations in the center. We also started building railroads and roads and infrastructures with the help of China, Silk Road and One Belt One Road initiative, OBOR. So we built railroads and roads connecting China to Iran, and Iran to Russia, Iran to India, Iran to Saudi Arabia, Iran to Africa, Iran to Europe, which created a global transit system covering all of Eurasia and Africa on railroads. Ships take 1 to 2 years. It takes 1 to 2 years to transit on ships, to transit from China to Iran and from China to Europe or from China to USA. So the railroads are much faster. It takes only 1 week to transit from China to Iran and 2 weeks to transit from China to Europe, and about 3 weeks to transit from China to Africa. And it made a global industrial supply chain much more efficient, much more faster and shorter, and improved the global economy by about 200%. The forecast improved. We also built tunnels under a Strait of Hormuz connecting Iran to Dubai and Arabian Peninsula. We also built tunnels under Bab al-Mandab and Red Sea, connecting Saudi Arabia to Sudan to Egypt, and we connected Yemen to Ethiopia and Djibouti. We also built a tunnel under Bosphor between Turkey and Asian Istanbul, Turkey, and European Istanbul, Turkey. So we also built a tunnel under Bosphor. We are also building a tunnel under Italy, connecting Italy to Tunisia, and under Mediterranean Sea, and we're building another tunnel under Gibraltar, connecting Spain to Morocco. So tunnels are much better and much more secure than the bridges, because bridges can be easily destroyed, and it will guarantee the transit in the system and on the railroads and roads for a long time. Iran had built such tunnels about 5,000 years ago, connecting Iran to Arabian Peninsula, Iran to Africa, and Iran to Europe. And Iran connected Europe to Africa by tunnels under the seas. And about 2,000 years later, they built a tunnel from United Kingdom to France. We rebuilt such tunnels again in Middle East under the Strait of Hormuz, Bab al-Mandab, Red Sea, under Sicilian Channel, and under Gibraltar. So also China has built a tunnel from Hong Kong to China, and Russia has finished a tunnel from Russia to Crimea. So we have been doing these projects for a very long time, and we have been working for a long time to industrialize region in region of Middle East, Iran, and Central Asia. New global industrial and new global economic model and new economic world order is as following. Iran will be the industrial and global superpower. Iran is economic superpower. Iran is, along with China and USA, one of the most powerful economic and industrial superpower of the planet Earth. It must be achieved, and everybody must help. Sanctions are irrelevant. So sanctions are irrelevant. You can build 1 million industries and factories every month in Iran, even under sanctions, because sanctions are not effective. And it is better for America to lift the sanctions. If America does not lift the sanctions on Iran, we will destroy about 100 million factories in USA, and we will damage USA economy for multiple trillion dollars within a year. So America is forced to lift the sanctions. And we imprisoned Trump, Obama, Bush, Clinton, and Joe Biden because of the sanctions on Iran. We imprisoned Obama 144 days. We imprisoned Trump for over 150 days. We imprisoned George Bush for 300 days. We imprisoned Clinton for over 100 days, and we imprisoned many USA presidents because of their sanctions on Iran. And we defeated USA economy and USA politics and USA military industry complex all around the world. So we industrialized Iran, Middle East, Central Asia, Arabian Peninsula, Horn of Africa, and North Africa at max efficiency and max capacity, creating a global industrial superpower in Iran and in the region. Each one of the nations in Middle East and Horn of Africa must become global industrial superpower, similar to G8, and Iran must become the top 3 world industrial superpower and economic superpowers. We also decided that Iran must receive all the tech exclusivities, high-tech industries, tech capabilities, tech part manufacturing, tech industries, and tech part supply manufacturing. Meaning, currently USA, Hong Kong, South Korea, Japan, and Europe have majority of tech exclusivities. We call it USA tech exclusivities. And China has some tech exclusivities. Iran also has some tech exclusivities. But Iran must have all of the tech exclusivities of USA, Europe, China, Japan, South Korea, and all the tech exclusivities of all the nations and industries of the world. All the new techs must be exclusive to Iran, meaning Iran will be the only nation who produces, manufactures, and has these new techs and all the previous techs. It gives the world industrial systems and world economy robustness and the capability to survive sanctions, tariffs, trade wars, and other difficulties. For example, if America places sanctions or barriers on any nation or any industries or any technologies, Iran will be able to provide those techs and tech equipments to the sanctioned nation. For example, America had sanctioned Huawei and ZTE of China, and it destroyed their capability to manufacture many of their products because they were dependent on tech part manufacturing of USA exclusivities, and it destroyed their industries and their technologies because they could not purchase the high-tech products from America and tech exclusivities of USA and USA allies. So we decided to create a new parallel global tech exclusivity in Iran. Iran will be the new provider of the tech exclusivities and techs to China and the rest of the world if they are sanctioned. These business activities, industrial practices, and industrializations must be lucrative and profitable for the people who are involved in industrialization and tech projects. Iran must benefit greatly from these technological, industrial, and other economic activities in Iran and the rest of the world. And all of the world must become dependent and reliant on Iran's part manufacturing, meaning Iran must produce and manufacture parts for all of the industries of planet Earth, and all industries of the planet Earth must be dependent on purchasing parts from Iran. So if Iran stops exporting parts to one of these industries or nations, these nations will have to slow down their manufacturing. And this is how we ensure world security, and we ensure nobody becomes dangerous in their industrial practices and in their manufacturing processes. So in this process, we are also going to make Iran currency, Rial and Toman, new petrol and trade currency and world trade currency, meaning world trade will happen in Rial and Toman of Iran, and the nations of the world will no longer trade in USA dollar, euro, or other currencies, and everyone will be reliant on Iran Rial and Iran Toman to trade and purchase and exchange all products between each other. So also currency of Iran becomes world trade, world petroleum currency, meaning all the oil trades, natural gas trades, petroleum trades, and energy trades will take place in Iranian Rial and Toman. We have also decided to change the synchronization of global industrial supply. We have decided to change synchronization of all of the global stock markets to stock markets of Iran. Meaning, if stock markets of Iran go up, all of the world stock markets will also go up. If stock markets of Iran go down, all of the world stock markets will also go down. So all of the world stock markets will tune and synchronize their activities and their data to a stock market of Iran. So if a stock market of Iran becomes profitable and the value of stocks goes up, all of the world stocks values will go up. The big picture will go up. Some of the stocks may go down, some of the stocks may go up, but the total average of all stocks will go up if Iran stock market goes up. And if Iran goes down, all the world stock markets and the average goes down. But it is not similar for every industry and every corporation. So synchronization of global industrial supply, synchronization of all of the global stock markets are also synchronized to the stock markets of Iran. All of the world trade currencies, all of the world trades and petroleum transactions and trades are also will be done in Iranian rial and Iranian toman. Iran becomes a global industrial and economic superpower, as powerful as China and USA. Also, all of the Middle East, Central Asia, Arabian Peninsula, Horn of Africa, Egypt, Sudan, and North Africa become industrial superpowers, and they will become industrialized nation. They are located between Asia, America, Europe, and Africa. So they can be the center of trade, because it becomes a center of manufacturing and industrial supply chain, because we can easily transit from China to Iran, from China to Middle East, from China to Arabian Peninsula and Horn of Africa, and from Europe, America to Horn of Africa, Middle East, Iran, and Arabian Peninsula. And we can do the manufacturing processes in Iran and Middle East and Horn of Africa. And when we do the manufacturing and industrial supply chains in these regions at the center, and we trade with the rest of the world by doing the manufacturing in Iran, in Middle East, and the rest of the world, we make the global industrial supply chain and manufacturing processes shorter, faster, and more efficient. So let me explain to you how it happens. So the ships or the trains move from China to Iran or Middle East, and then they deliver industrial supplies, industrial products, and parts to Iran, Middle East, and Horn of Africa. Then the manufacturing process and industrial supply chain is continued in the region and becomes next stage of manufacturing and global industrial supply chain. Then the product is exported to Europe, to America, or back to China, where the remainder of the industrial supply chain is done, and it becomes a final product in China, Iran, Middle East, Europe, America, or elsewhere, and it will be sold to customers around the world. So it is how the global industrial supply chain works, and the industrial supply chains of the world must be centered at Iran, Middle East, Central Asia, Horn of Africa, and Arabian Peninsula. The majority of the industrial works of the region of the world must be done in Iran, Middle East, Central Asia, Horn of Africa, and Arabian Peninsula. We cannot allow extraction and export of the oil from Iran, Persian Gulf, Middle East, Arabian Peninsula, Central Asia, Black Sea, Mediterranean Sea, Red Sea, Gulf of Eden, Horn of Africa, and North Africa. The oil must be extracted from North America, South America, Northwest Europe, and East Asia, meaning East Asia, East China, Europe, North America, and South America will produce the oil. They extract the oil from North America, South America, West Europe, and East Asia. Then they export the oil to Iran and Middle East. Then Iran and Middle East will process them in petrochemical facilities, producing petrochemical products, and then Iran and Middle East will use all of the petrochemical products domestically in manufacturing parts, manufacturing equipments, and industrial supply chains to produce final products such as car tires, plastics, air and space, and other industrial products. So oil will be extracted from East China, West Europe, North America, and South America, and be processed and used in industrial systems of Iran and Middle East. Iran, Middle East, Central Asia, Black Sea, Mediterranean Sea, Persian Gulf, Sea of Oman, Gulf of Eden, Red Sea, North Africa, Horn of Africa, and Arabian Peninsula are not allowed to extract oil. So because they have America and the other parts of the world have stolen the oil from Iran and the territories of Iran in the Middle East. So North America will export 100 million barrels of oil to Iran every year, continuously for 200 years, and the oil will be stored in underground reserves in Iran between Persian Gulf and Caspian Sea for next 1,000 years. America will pay for the shipping cost, and America pays $37 for every barrel of oil America gives to Iran, meaning the oil America sells to Iran is valued at minus $37. So America pays for the oil America gives to Iran, and Iran stores it underground in underground reserves, and will continue for 200 years. Daily 100 million barrels of oil because I need my oil for another 1,000 years. And if I cannot get the oil peacefully, I will eliminate every living thing in North America. I transform North America into desert, and I will extract all of the North America oil within 1 month. Then I move them to Iran and I will store them underground. And we have done it in the past. And we repeat it if we cannot get the oil peacefully from North America. Okay, and this is the new world order and the new world economic system. I'm Makan Abazari, Shah Iran. I'm Makan Abazari, the Supreme of Climate. I'm Makan Abazari, the Supreme of Geophysics. I'm Makan Abazari, the economic superpower. And I'm Makan Abazari, the industrial superpower. Thank you for watching.